everybody. Good day, guys. Good day, good day, good day. Welcome to today on Princess Anu-TV, and today we're going to be talking about something very, very juicy, and that's radio calls, student pilot radio calls. So I'm just going to be waiting for a few more persons to join today's live stream, and we're going to be starting up like full time. No, yeah, is here. And now you're welcome. Welcome to today's live stream. Abaya is here too. Thank you so much. You guys are just the best. Like always coming on time, always here, everything. Like, oh my god, you guys are the best. We're going to be talking about radio call, and there's this thing about radio call that you need to be smart, you need to be articulate, you need to be able to deliver as much as possible. Sahi, welcome. And a lot of us, when I say a lot of us, a lot of student pilots make the same mistake, including myself. I'm not an exemption. But anyways, let me not go too far. In case you're new to this channel, we always have live streams, so I'm used to talking to my people here, and so that's why I'm just flowing. But in case you're new here, welcome to Princess Anu-TV. We talk about aviation, motivation, and adventure. And if you've not subscribed, do me a favor, click on the subscribe button. It's somewhere around here, also, I think it is. Just click on the subscribe button and the bell so that you don't miss any notifications on this channel. Like, we are a wonderful family, don't worry. Don't forget to also leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the videos, and you know, more and more. So guys, let's go back to today's topic, radio comms. How do you communicate with ATC? How can you as a student pilot master this skill of communicating with air traffic controllers? And in case you don't know, air traffic controllers are the people that separate us during flight, even on ground. A lot of, in an airport, especially airports where can you just imagine airports where they have a lot of aircrafts and you have like 20 aircrafts wanting to take off at the same time? Olumide, welcome. Imagine how it's going to be if all those aircrafts go to the runway at the same time. I think that's even what happened in the Pan Am air crash, that one was about taking off and one was landing. One was landing just about exiting the runway, and that crash happened. So you can see that air traffic controllers are very, very important, and communicating with them is even much more important, because communication is what makes them do a proper separation in flight. So you can see what I'm talking about, that if you don't communicate with them rightly, and that's why we have our own aviation phonetics, aviation alphabets, like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, like that, India, you know, and then we go and we go. That's why, because they don't want any complications. If you say, if you use a particular word, it needs to be clear to the whole world that this is what you mean. Because I think in the past, when people say some things using the normal English to speak, and the controllers confuse it, it causes a lot of crashes, it causes a lot of accidents and incidents. And so they brought about aviation alphabet, and they brought about normal phraseology that you use to communicate with the controller. But the thing is, if you're a student pilot and you just come newly into this thing, it's usually difficult. I'm telling you, it was difficult for me, and it's not like now I'm perfect, or now I can really do it, like, especially now that we are doing instrument communications. Guys, instrument communication is, Lord. I remember the instructor that is teaching us. The instructor that is instructing us, let me know if the word teaching us. It's actually teaching us, but it's actually instructing us. And there are some words that if you use, he's likely going to send you out of the briefing room, because he says, this is not a marketplace. You don't use those kind of words. You don't communicate. Sorry, you don't communicate to the controller with those kind of words and everything. And so aviation is very, very regulated. Sorry guys, I just want to quickly plug this. Aviation is very, very regulated, and there are some words you don't use on the radio. Like, do you know, funny enough, even greetings are not even allowed on radio. But we know that this human part of us cannot just live, and so you cannot maybe meet a friend, or you pick up the the radio and you want to talk to the controller and you don't greet them. Though those things are not accepted in quotes, like greeting the controller on the radio and be like, good morning sir and all that, is not accepted, or thank you sir and all that. But it's necessary, that it's part of us that we do it. You understand all these kind of things? But seriously, communication is a part in flying that you can't do without. Though the sequence is aviate, navigate, then communicate. Fly the aircraft, make sure everything is stable before you communicate. But communication is still very, very important. Even if it's the last, it's still important. So how can we as student pilots get familiar with these things? How can we master it? Jane Ikudu, welcome. Nice seeing you here. The first time I'm seeing this name. In case you're new, welcome to Princess Anu-TV. If you've not subscribed, you know what to say. Subscribe. Okay, guys. Now let's go straight into this. The first tip that I'm going to be giving you, I'm basically going to be giving about 5 tips today about this. Jamil, welcome. The first tip is practice. You see, when we started flying as student pilots and we fly with the instructor and all that, and you're making a lot of blunders, like a lot of blunders. I don't know if you listen to some radio communications on Instagram, music vibes, welcome. If you listen to some communications on Instagram, then when I was not yet like in flight school, it's difficult to understand what these guys are saying. But now as a pilot, I understand like what they are saying. It's easy for me to interpret that, okay, this is what they're saying, that is what they're saying. But if you're not a pilot at all, it's going to be really difficult. You're going to be hearing things like squawk 422 that, and you're going to be asking, what's the meaning of like squawk? What, like this, you may be person going to say, this is 5 November Bravo Delta Echo, reading back from, like, you're going to be so confused. Natty Bruce, welcome. But because you're now a student pilot, there are some things that you'll be getting familiar. But how can you even get familiar with these things if you don't practice? So what our instructors advised us to do then was that we should practice within ourselves. So one person is going to be the pilot, the other person is going to act as the controller. So if, for instance, I'm going for a flight and I really need to understand the radio communications that surrounds that particular flight, what's going to happen is that I'll call one of my classmates and he's going to act as the controller for me. And so as I'm flying, like telling him, okay, let me assume I want to request for taxi. I've turned up the aircraft, everything is fine. Then now I want to taxi to the runway for me to be able to take off. And so I'm like, 5 November, I'll use my call sign, Princess AnuTv. So I'm going to say, Papa Alpha Tango, ready for taxi. And he's going to reply me, Papa Alpha Tango is cleared to taxi to runway, blah, blah, blah. Let's assume it's runway 23 or runway 24 or whatever. It's cleared to taxi to runway 23. Wind is 240 at 02 knots or 240 at 12 knots, depending. And so when he gives me that, I understand what I'm expecting from the controller. He might not give me that exact wind when I come on board the flight to actually fly like my normal flight. But because I'm simulating and my classmate is acting as the controller and I'm acting as the pilot, because obviously I'm going to fly in maybe the next 1 hour or the next 2 hours, I'm able to understand what to expect. So if he tells me taxi to runway 2, now if he changes the runway and say taxi to runway 05, it's not going to sound so awkward, because it's either he's going to tell me to taxi to runway 23 or he's going to tell me to taxi to runway 05. So I already know what to expect. So the moment I'm listening for his for what he's going to tell me, these are the 2 things I'm expecting. And now if he's not going to tell me wind is 240 at 12 knots, and now he wants me to taxi to runway 05, maybe he's going to tell me the wind is 06 knots, 060 at maybe 06 knots, or 060 or 070 at 12 knots. So I know exactly what to expect. So guys, if you've not been practicing, I'm telling you, you're going to be doing yourself a very wrong thing. It's important that you start practicing. Practice with your colleagues. Practice with your friends. Let them, like, you guys should be able to flow in this whole process. If not, it's going to be, radio call is going to be difficult for you if you are not practicing. But you know, the good thing about it is that when you keep flying, you start getting familiar with the whole thing. But still yet, there are people that you know that if they communicate on the radio, they are good. Their communication controller doesn't have to be saying every time, come again, say again, say again, say again. Or you don't even have to be telling the controller, say again, say again, say again. I can't read you, sir. Say again, say again, say again. It's going to be really tiring. In fact, the controller, when he discovers that you're saying say again over and over again, he might assume your radio is bad, and he will tell you that please return back to the apron, fix your radio before you go for that flight. And you can see the way it is just because of radio communication. So guys, practice is very, very important. That's my first tip for you guys on this radio communication, mastering ATC communication, mastering how to communicate on the radio. Now let's move over to number 2. Think, guys. Think before you talk. It's hard. You know, I'm saying this because I've made some of these mistakes, and funny enough, I still make them. Sometimes I still make them because I'm not yet perfect. I'm still a student by the Regina. Annie, welcome. Don't forget, guys, give this video a thumbs up. If you have anything for us to discuss, whatever, outside this topic, inside the topic, leave it in the comment section. I'm going to be touching it. I'm really going to be touching it, trust me. So, guys, another thing is think before you talk. It's difficult because sometimes when you're multitasking and your instructor is like, you've not called. Let me assume you are going from... It's even worse when you're having to deal with two... Sorry, guys. It's even worse when you're having to deal with two aerodromes at once. Let me assume you're going from Zaria to like Kaduna, or you're going from Zaria Airport to Kano Airport or to Abuja Airport. So you need to be communicating with like 2 different controllers or 3, depending. Sometimes they'll ask you to call Kano before you get to Abuja, or before you even get to Abuja, you likely call Kano, you call Kaduna before you now get to Abuja and all that. So, and the instructor is like, you're trying to concentrate on flying the aircraft, like trying to fly the heading, especially when you're not using autopilot. You're trying to fly the heading, you're trying to look at the speed, you're trying to make sure your power setting is okay. You're trying to do everything, and he's like, thank you. And he's like, you have not called. You have not called, and now you're agitated, and you just press the button for you to call, because there's a button you actually depress in the either on the yoke. It's usually on the yoke, so it can be handy, like on the control column, so it can be handy most of the time. It's usually on the control column, and you depress it for you to call, and you're like, good morning or good afternoon, Zaria Tower. Meanwhile, you're talking to Abuja Tower, like, good morning, Zaria Tower, Zaria Tower. Guys, you're calling Zaria Tower when you're supposed to be calling Abuja Tower. Sometimes it seems like you're not thinking before you're talking, because you're under duress already. So the best thing for you to do is to plan ahead. Guys, I'm telling you that there's sometimes that you switch the frequency. You think you've switched the frequency for Abuja. Meanwhile, you're calling Zaria Tower. You still depressed, and you're saying, Abuja Tower, good morning, Abuja Tower. This is 5 November, Papa Alpha Tango, Abuja Tower. And Zaria says, this is Zaria Tower. In fact, sometimes Zaria will never respond. You just be the one to generally look at your radio, and you see that the frequency is wrong. Or you wanted to put a frequency for Abuja and you put a frequency for another airport. Let me say you're still talking to Kaduna Airport. Sometimes, guys, these things can be so crazy, like packing. That's why as a pilot, you need to be able to multitask, like do several things at the same time. Like you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing so many things at the same time. So, you know, doing everything at once, sometimes it may look like you are not thinking, and it's bad. Because when it's like you want to call, let your mind be there in the call, but also fly. Because there was a time my instructor said, so is it that when you are talking, you cannot fly again? You cannot fly again. So it's like, you depressed, I am calling, good day, Zaria Tower. This is 5, okay, Zaria Tower, upwind, request 180, and the aircraft is ahead of you. You know, that's another thing they have issues with us as student pilots. they always say be ahead of the aircraft. Try as much as possible to ahead of the aircraft. The aircraft should not be the one flying you. You should be the one flying the aircraft. And sometimes when you want to do radio call, you're talking, the guy is responding, you're looking at this, looking at that. Guys, being a student pilot, being a pilot is not a one day work. It's not like, oh, just a stroll around the park and you feel good, you chill. Guys, it's hot, especially when you have your second engine and you know the second engine, the instructors, oh god, obviously nobody wants you to kill them, so they don't want you to kill them, they don't want you to kill yourself, you don't want you to kill other persons, both on ground and also flying in the air. So I don't blame them when they are like super conscious, like don't do this, don't do that, let's make sure everything is right and all that. So being able to think, plan for the flight, plan that this, and this is another thing that comes with practice too. If you know that you're going to talk to Kaduna Tower or you're going to talk to another aerodrome, you already plan it. You look at your estimates, you already have your estimates written down, so you know exactly what is going to be happening. And so when you depress, you're looking at something to call. Do you know that sometimes that we as student pilots, we call and we mistake the call sign of our aircraft with another aircraft flying just because we are a little bit distracted. It happens. Sometimes some people call on the radio and you hear and they are calling your own aircraft. So let me assume now I am Papa Alpha Tango, Princess Anu-TV. So let's say Papa Alpha Tango and someone else is flying, let's say Charlie Bravo Delta. Someone else is flying Charlie Bravo Delta. And the person is calling Zara Tower and it says this is Papa Alpha Tango. Meanwhile, the person is flying Charlie Bravo Delta. This person's mind is not there. And you know, because of these things, they put our call signs on the dash, I'm going to call it, on the instrument panel. They put it on, you know, sometimes I used to make mistake and just like cars, I call it the dashboard. I'm like, oh God, what kind of village pilot wants to be this? But they put it on the instrument panel, just a little bit ahead of the instrument panel, so that you can actually see your call sign anytime you depress the button. So personally for me, I don't have to cram my call sign, the call sign of that aircraft I'm flying, because today you're flying this aircraft, tomorrow you're flying this other one, next tomorrow you're flying this other one. So cramming, like, okay, I'm in this aircraft now. You might be confusing. Maybe throughout yesterday you flew for about 4 hours and you kept on saying Charlie Bravo Alpha, Charlie Bravo Alpha, Charlie Bravo Alpha, and now you're in another aircraft and subconsciously your mind is about to say this is 5 November Charlie Bravo Alpha. Meanwhile, you're in Charlie Bravo Delta. So you see that your mind has to just be there to be like, just look at it. Everything is written there already. Instead of cramming it, instead of thinking about it and saying, oh my God, which aircraft am I in and all that. Look at it. It's on your instrument panel. The call sign of your aircraft is there. The aircraft registration, it is there. This is 5 November Papa Alpha Tango. It's so plain. So guys, like I said, this number 2 tip is think. It's going to be hard. It might not be so easy like to come by. We still make mistakes. All of us. Nobody's perfect. Even sometimes the instructors, they make mistakes, not to talk of the students. Everybody makes mistakes. And so it happens, guys. So just do well to think before you talk. Another tip I have for you, which is the number 3 tip, is for you to listen out properly. Listen out properly. Guys, I remember in my check ride that because I wanted to request for a 180 glide. I needed to do that 180 glide because it was part of the exercises I had to do in my CPL to fulfill the CPL requirements of getting the license. And so the moment I was upwind, someone else was already calling, but I thought probably I wasn't hearing anything again. So immediately I depressed and I was like, I never knew I wasn't hearing the other aircraft clearly. And so the moment I depressed and I was like, I can't remember the aircraft I was flying that day again. I can't remember the call sign of the aircraft. So I'm still going to use my call sign now, Princess AnuTv. So I'm still going to use Papa Alpha Tango. And I was just like, Zara Tower 5 November Papa Alpha Tango is upwind requesting 180. And the guy was like, obviously the controller, and he was like, Papa Alpha Tango, listen out. You know, this kind of thing, just like they are shutting you up on the radio and you just feel, it's just as if your spirit is just going down. Like, I was furious. I was so happy. I was so happy at all because I just wanted to do that 180 glide and get it over with. Like, oh God, I need to be done with this check ride as soon as possible. Let me come and know that I passed because I wasn't ready to fail. I was not ready to fail at all. And you know, the moment he said it, Papa Alpha Tango, I'm just using Papa Alpha Tango as like as a call sign, because I can't remember the call sign of the aircraft I flew that day, and he was like, Papa Alpha Tango, listen out. Oh my God, it's just like, come on, were you not hearing that other persons were talking before you are just about talking? So listening out is something that is very, very important. And another reason why you should listen out, not only that you might be shut down, like, can you please shut up? Another way of saying, please shut up and let every other person talk and stop making noise on this radio. So another way that can happen for you is that if you don't listen out properly, you might not be able to read back correctly what the controller has said. So if, for instance, you already crammed in your mind that the controller is going to give you taxi to runway holding position 23 or taxi to runway holding position 05, you already crammed it in your mind that he's going to give you taxi to runway holding position 05, and suddenly the wind changed and he was now like, Papa Alpha Tango, taxi to runway holding position 23, and you now read back, taxi, clear taxi, runway holding position 05. That is going to be so wrong because he did not actually give you, sorry, if you read taxi to runway holding position 05, meanwhile he gave you 23, automatically that is wrong. He's going to say, I say again, Papa Alpha Tango is cleared, taxi holding position 23. He's going to repeat it again, 23. And so sometimes cramming things or not listening out can make you stressed because you have to read back and read back and read back something that you would just have said once and forgotten about and concentrated on your flight, because that is why it's aviate, navigate, and communicate. Communication is the last. You must make sure that the aircraft is flying well, everything is going fine before you even think about communicating. So that's why in emergencies, before they even say the mayday, the pilots or the captains have already tried everything. At least they're trying almost like half of what they know on board before you see the captain telling the first officer, call, give a mayday call, make a mayday call and tell them this is our situation, this is what we're passing. And even the moment they call, that call is over. All they're doing is to concentrate on what is going on in the aircraft, because it's what is going on in the aircraft. They say when there's an emergency, every other rule breaks. So even if he lands in a place he wasn't supposed to land and he was safe, when he comes down, he can answer questions of why didn't you make a call, why didn't you do this, why didn't you do that. But for the time that he's still flying, every other thing, like he has an emergency, every other protocol breaks, because an emergency has priority. In fact, a mayday call has priority over any other call. Once there's a mayday call, every other person is almost supposed to be like silent. Every other person, if you're around that airspace, just come and land. Let that mayday be over before you even think of doing any other thing. I can see more persons are joining us. Don't forget, give this video a thumbs up. If you've not subscribed, you know how we do it. Subscribe. Okay, guys. Now let's go to the fourth tip. The fourth tip, very, very important. Be patient. Be patient, guys. In flying needs a lot of patience, and sometimes you have to be patient. Up front, hi, hello, nice seeing you. First time I'm seeing you on this channel. So guys, as I was saying, you have to be patient. And sometimes, just like I said, you call and you're like, stand by. You have to be patient. Or maybe you did something wrong and the controller says stand by. You have to be patient. You cannot force your way. If they don't clear you, you're not going anywhere. If they don't clear you for takeoff, you're not going anywhere. If they don't clear you for departure, you're not going anywhere. So in everything, Once you make a radio call as a student pilot and it's a standby, just stand by and wait for the controller to call you, because that's not the time where you have to like disturb and call and be like, sir, I'm still standing by, sir, I'm still waiting, and all. They might even keep you to be standing by for a longer period of time. So, you know, as student pilots, there are a lot of things we keep learning. It's fun, actually. The learning process is quite fun, and it's something that the moment you continue to get used to it, the moment you keep doing it, and like you put your mind to do it in the best way you can, the moment you keep doing it, you get the best and the best out of it, like every single day, every single time. Lastly, communication is last. Meekness Daniel, welcome. Communication is last. When you're facing an emergency, when you have an issue on board, when things are not going well, when it seems like you're not flying well, whatever, communication is the last thing. You know, sometimes I remember sometimes when my instructor will complain and be like, why do you want to talk on the radio? Fly this aircraft, fly this aircraft. And you'll be like, sir, I'm not entering, I've not called. Is it calling you're supposed to be doing? Are you supposed to? Oh my god. And that's act like one rough and stringent instructor. But that's it. Communication should always be last. That is the last tip I have for you guys. Communication should be last. Once, just make sure you're flying the aircraft, make sure you're navigating, make sure everything you're doing is on point. Leave communication to be last. You come back to it. That doesn't mean you should neglect communication. It's just like you're on final and you're done configuring your aircraft and all that, you're on final, you're even about like you're close to runway and all that, and you've not called for final. Obviously, you know that if the controller doesn't give you clearance to land, if you land and anything happens, you're so on your own. You're so on your own. So except it's an emergency, just like I said before, in emergencies every rule breaks. But controller does not give you this, and because you say you're trying to keep your speed, you're trying to keep your heading, you're trying to keep everything, and you don't call, it's going to be really bad for you. The controller can tell you short to land like this. Let me say this is the runway. Short to land like this. He will tell you, Papa Alpha Tango, I didn't clear you to land, blah, and you have to add power and you go around, then you come back again and you have to request. So instead of passing through all those rigors and all, even if we know that communication should be last, still remember, guys, to communicate. It's really going to help you. It's really going to help you understand even the way things go. So guys, I just thought about this. We should talk about it because communication is one of the things that give we as student pilots problem. And even now I'm beginning to learn instrument flying communication, because instrument flying communication is totally different. Not completely different anyways, but some things you say in VFR are not the same things you say when you're flying instruments. So it's not that like easy. So for every time you have to keep like adjusting and getting used to the way the whole thing goes. So guys, I hope you enjoyed my little speech, like my little I hope you enjoyed this series of, or this particular topic of this air traffic control stuff. There are a lot of things to learn as student pilots, and you just have to have an open mind. Thank you so much. I'm happy. Thanks for the encouragement. A lot of things you have to learn. There are a lot of things you have to like put in mind. Yes, it's the action you put into, yeah, the way you treat it, the way you go about it, the way you carry things along. It's really again. Yes, we do, Papa Alpha. Okay, that's nice. So guys, I'm going to be seeing you people tomorrow by God's grace, by the help of God. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow evening, likely. But if I'm not going to be there, you're going to be seeing me tomorrow, or I'm going to upload a video for you guys to watch. So if you have any questions, don't forget my email is still very much open. Not only that my email is open, you can chat me up on Instagram on Princess AnuTv. You can send your questions, your concerns, whatever it may be. Just know that flight schools have resumed already. A lot are also resuming, and ours is going to be resuming soon too. And so therefore, if you are not yet ready, start putting things in place to be able to resume back to school. Because in fact, for now, SS3 has resumed today. just 3 has resumed today. The graduating classes actually have resumed, and so a lot of other persons will be resuming. So I think you should start putting your bags together, putting everything together, because things are changing now. Everybody's gonna like wearing nose masks and everything to class, like looking like now we're gonna be looking like when we are flying with nose masks and all that. But that's the new normal, and we just have to adjust ourselves to new normal to be able to like go along. So guys, I'm gonna be seeing you tomorrow. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. If you've not liked, like. If you've not commented, give a comment. See you guys tomorrow.